Hi, I'm Nick from ALoadOfOldScrap. I make sculptures from scrap, salvage, recycled and sometimes new metal. Today's video is part 2 in probably a 2-part series where I'm making a pillar with a peacock on top of it. Now the peacock's going to be mounted up on top of it, the tail's going to come down and sort of swoop around and just about come onto the front a little bit. So first step on it today is going to be working on the feet. I've got an amazing picture, drawing, sketch, whatever, of what it's going to look like. Hopefully it'll look better than the drawing does. I've put the threaded bar on the bottom of the feet so I can bolt it to this. I put the nylon nuts on so that when it was in the vise getting welded out it wouldn't damage the threads or anything. But obviously where I was welding above that there, it's melted the nylon plastic stuff that locks the threads. Melted that's gone into the threads, then solidified again so it's completely solid and I can't undo the nuts. It's like, that's not going to move at all. So I'm going to hit that with a blowtorch, burn that out completely, then I'll be able to take them off, put the field here properly so it looks like. Problem sorted. Legs and feet go on there nicely. I've got, hopefully you've watched part 1 in the video series, where you can see that I made, when I did these panels, I made a section here to come out. If I undo that screw there and that screw there, a section there is going to come out and then I'll be able to access underneath to just get these bolted down and hold them nice and tight just while I'm working on the rest of it. I didn't want to do that. Right, after the mess that was yesterday with getting the nuts stuck on the bottom of the feet and then undoing the bolt on these and that dropping, I decided to call it a day, just give up, start again tomorrow. Today is tomorrow, so let's crack on. We're going to get some more done on this now. Feet are bolted on, nice and solid on there now, so I can make a start on building up the body, or at least the framework of the body. More than likely going to make that out of 6mm round bar, which is what I generally use to frame out most of my sculptures. Okay, I've been looking at the sort of shape that I want to make out of the 6mm round bar to make up the body for this. It popped into my head that I've got an old motorbike fuel tank. I've got this one. The shape of this is pretty much perfect for what I want. So what I'm thinking is if I flip it over that way, I think that's in frame, yeah. If I flip it over that way, that can go onto the legs. And that is going to give the shape of the body. If I trim off these pieces here, I can make a plate that will bolt straight onto this and build the tail onto that plate so it all unbolts really nicely. So I've changed the plan. What I'm going to do is cut it out around about there. This whole section is going to come out. Then I'm going to make a sheet, a sheet out of 2mm steel that can go into that. I've gone ahead and stripped all the paint off of the tank and stuff, so it's going to be the body. I've just cut a couple of washers, just sort of strengthening washers. So they're going to go on where the legs are going to go. So I've got one there, another one to go there. Because, like I said before, this is really thin steel. If I put that on first, it spreads the weight across the entire thing. Should strengthen it a little bit. Look off camera to get the right height that I wanted for it. Should put that under there. Should hold it at the height that I wanted. Give the right angle and everything for it, I think. Okay, so the first tail feather is on roughly, following down in round and coming to there, into the final spot there. Now this is not the final tail piece that's going to go on here. It's not the final feather, sorry. This section is going to be probably twice if not 3 times as long, and I'll weld that on somewhere up here, and then I'll have a bit more movement with the final with the end to get it exactly where I want it to go. Obviously that is just going to get cut off. I can grind that back and hide it, it's no issue. But hopefully you can kind of see what I'm going for with it wrapping around. You imagine that with loads and loads of feathers. I think this is going to look awesome. Okay, now the plan for feathers, they're going to look a little bit like this. Now when I did this one, this was one of the test pieces I did, cut out of 1mm steel. I've jumped up to 2mm steel and just done a test cut of the sort of the long part of the feather to see how well that works. I'm still going to have the ability to manipulate it however I want. It's just going to be a little bit more sturdy, more for when it's being moved around than anything else. So yeah, I've gone ahead and cut that. I wanted to point out is each one of these individual pieces, they're 2.5mm wide, each one of these. And the machine hasn't missed a beat on the entire thing. It's brilliant. Now my machine is 5 years old, I think. So the newer ones have got uprated things. You've got different carriages and stuff to keep everything tight and in tolerance and stuff like that. Mine's 5 years old. I don't do a huge amount of maintenance on it, if I'm totally honest, and it still cuts really nicely like that. Brilliant bit of kit. Basic start of the tail done. Swoop down round and then I'll come back so you can see it. So you can see it's wrapping around really nicely all around like that. I'm going to come back and try not to trip over stuff. You can see it. So we're going to cut a little piece of copper to go into each one of these, and then all of it's going to get coloured up with some heat. So we're going to have to make some smaller feathers to go up over the top of the body now, over the top there at the back, and then I think I'm going to make some almost like washers that I can tack and make it look like feathers all over the body as well, and then it'll be making the neck and making the head. We've got the lovely colours have come through on that where I've welded in underneath. It's looking awesome. It's all coming together. I've done the other side as well. So we've got those feathers there. I need to start work on the neck and the head area now. At the moment, the pillar is all together, so it's like all, it's on the base as well. So it's a little bit tall to work on. So I'm going to take the middle section off, just put that on the floor so I can get to it all a bit easier, and then figure out what I'm going to do for the head. Okay, so that's the next section with the sort of, I suppose you call it pie cuts, a bit like you get on an exhaust manifold sometimes. They're all welded up, looks a lot neater, looks a lot nicer. Next stage I'm going to work on is sort of easing out this transition here, because it's too abrupt the way that this sort of shoulder comes in and then into the neck. So I've cut a little template from cardboard. I'm hoping if I go something like that, it really softens how harsh that transition is. So I'm going to transfer that onto some metal, get that cut, and see if I can get the kind of effect I'm after from metal. Obviously cardboard then go a lot easier, but we'll see what we can do. Put it on the base there, the pillar. We've got the tail coming up really nicely, curving around onto those feathers, to the shoulder parts, to the breast on that plate that I've just put on to sort of spread it a little bit, and then up to the neck and the head. So off camera I've made some adjustments to the head. It was just too small as it was. I wasn't 100% sure how I was going to do it, so rather than filming loads and loads and having to edit everything, what I've done is gone ahead and done it. So what I've done is, there's a tablespoon on the top there, a tablespoon on the back here. And there we go. And then we've filled in, there's the head of a teaspoon there, a teaspoon and the handle coming down there. And then just sort of reshaped everything with some weld. So I had a hunt through the back room of the workshop, and I found some proper chunky spokes from a motorcycle wheel with the nipples on them, whatever they're called, adjusters. And that is absolutely perfect. On the proper Peacock, the feather that's coming up is really, really thin, and then it sort of splays out at the top. If I can put a bunch of these together, all welded quite reasonably close together, that's going to look really good. There we go. Closer look. Much, much better than it was at the start of the day. That's really cool. Love the shape of that. Next up, we're going to be doing some more work on the tail. So in each one of the spoons that we've got in the centre of the eye of the tail sort of thing, there's going to be a little cutout. Just made a little template like that out of cardboard. So that'll be in every single one of them. And that's going to be made out of copper. So I've got some copper pipe. What I'll do is cut it down the middle, flatten it out, draw around the template, cut it out, and then it'll be ready.